Hey guys, I want to encourage you with some more stuff that I'm just processing this week. I don't have it all figured out. It's pretty raw. Some of it's kind of new revelation, but I feel like I have a handle on enough and just felt stirred to bring you along in my journey so that you can be encouraged too and maybe blessed by what God's showing me, and that maybe it'll touch you and where you're at in your life. So this all was stirred from Sunday morning. My pastor and friend Luke gave this great word. He always does. But this particular word really touched me in deep places, and I'm still, days later, thinking about it and in dialogue with the Lord over it. And his message all kind of drew us to this place of just sitting quietly with the Lord and asking him questions about what he was wanting to show us, based on some of the things that Luke was talking about in our life, and places where there was mess that he could come in and talk to us about. Well, I didn't need to think long about mess, because it feels like there's certain areas in my life where there is just mess, okay? And it's ongoing, and it is hard because I want things to not be messy. Just in the natural, like I'm cleaning all the time. I'm picking up things in my house because I don't like clutter, I don't like mess, and I don't like that in any area. So whether it's just physically or just relationally, spiritually, whatever, I want things clean and nice and neat and orderly. That's just how I'm wired, I guess. But we all know that that is not life. There's a continual mess, and we're continually going around and cleaning up mess, right? And managing mess. Life is just a lot about managing mess, because mess is constantly happening. And there's times that can feel really tiresome and really weary. And so as I'm sitting with the Lord after listening to Luke's message, which, by the way, if you want to hear it, you can go to vinelife.com. It's on their website. That's vinelife.com. Or they also have a podcast that's great, Vine Life Podcast. So go check it out and listen to it and be inspired by that message. But anyway, at the end, as that, they were giving us time to just sit quietly with the Lord and interact with him, he was showing me, we're like looking at all these points of chaos and pain and mess in my life with my kids and places in my marriage that could use shored up, and work things that I have my hands to, and just all this stuff, and God is showing me, and he's talking to me, and he's saying, Jeanette, there's times where you get so overwhelmed by the mess and the chaos of process that you step out of it. You emotionally kind of check out because you just can't handle it. And I felt like God was encouraging me. He was saying, Jeanette, don't disengage from the mess emotionally. It's just part of the process. Step into the pain, because I will step into the pain with you. And sometimes that's part of the process, is just feeling the pain and being real with what's going on, and letting me, like this is God talking to me, letting me sit in that with you. And a lot of times, we either don't want to sit in our own pain, or we don't want to sit in other people's pain, because that's some of the mess and chaos. Is not things that we're creating, but things that other people around us are creating. But that's just part of life. And, God was showing me this one particular area, and I can't get into it because it's a really long story. But it was a point of pain for me for years and years and years, okay? And in this one place, because of the nature of what it wasn't anything that I could fix. It wasn't anything I could do anything about. And it just was, okay? But it was painful. And it would come up periodically. And I would just, in those times, I would just be really real with the Lord about how I felt and the hurt. And I knew that he didn't like me hurting in this area. And I would just come to him and I would just cry. And I would imagine him holding me and just being with me in the pain. And now he was showing me a lot of that has resolved. And it wasn't because there was anything that he could do in the moment in the past. This was a particular situation that needed time. It needed me to be in a particular season in my life, and it needed me to come to a place of understanding who I was as a daughter of the King and as a very much loved daughter of the King. And so it took time for me to come to a place of understanding who I was and who God was in this particular area. And it took time for me to physically get into a location where the answer could play itself out. And I know I'm being cryptic, but it's just all to say that the process was me coming to the Lord and being very real in all those times of pain. And then he worked it out in his timing and through me maturing in my relationship with him. So it wasn't something that he could just snap his finger way back when the pain first started to make better. This was something that just had to be worked out. And there's so many things like that in our life that we don't understand what's going on, but we don't like the pain. But I feel like God is encouraging all of us to just, it's okay to be in the pain with him. He wants to step into that with us, experience it with us, to be real about what we're going through and how we're feeling. We don't have to fake it and act like we're super happy. Being filled with the joy of the Lord isn't about being happy and up and smiley all the time. Jesus, even himself, felt pain and went through a lot, not even on the cross, but even before. I mean, relationally, there were pain and fractures that happened with people, and loss that was experienced by Jesus. And he didn't shy away from those things. He sat in them with the Lord, And even when he was preparing himself to go to the cross, he's sitting in that place of and the weight of what he was about to do with the Lord, to the point where he's sweating blood. So it was intense. He didn't step away from it. He stepped into it, because God is even in our pain. He's even in the dark. He's even in the valleys. There's no place that God is not. So that's my encouragement today for you. Be real with whatever's going on. Give God your pain. Let yourself experience it with him, because he wants to comfort you in that. And the answer might not come immediately, and you might not have understanding. Life is messy and life is chaotic. And we're dealing with not only our own mess and chaos, but we're dealing with other people's mess and chaos. So even if we're in a super healthy place and know who we are and know who the Lord is in a particular area, we might be getting affected by somebody else's misunderstanding of who they are and who God is. And so we can sit in that with them and invite the Lord in it. So be blessed today to be real, to share with the Lord exactly how you're feeling, and let him be with you, even in pain. Okay, be blessed.